Oh man, I'ma have to go in. You know I have to talk about this, my boys. The VTubing world is full of mysteries, to say the least. Not just in terms of like appearance, obviously, because there are just people out there who use a anime avatar or any other type of avatar to hide their physical body, but a lot of, I guess, their real personalities are shrouded in a lot of mystery. And, you know, that's not a bad thing necessarily. I think if you want to keep your, real intentions, your real personality hidden from the public and instead want to offer up some different fantasy or play in some kind of different character for your audience and for entertainment purposes, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. You do you. That is a skill that I personally cannot do because I only know how to be myself, which is probably a big reason why I never became a VTuber in the first place, although I was heavily rooted in the VTuber lore, should I say, right from the very beginning, probably being one of the first flesh tubers to ever actually collaborate with one of the first ever big VTubers that ever came out, Kizna Ai. Shout out to Ai-chan, I hope you're having a good rest. But we're not going to be so wholesome today because there has been a piece of news come out from the VTuber world that is fucking massive. Not only was it massive in Japan, as it has to do with two very, very prominent Japanese streamers and content creators online, but that obviously leaked over into the English side of things. And again, as someone who has been in the VTuber community or in the vicinity of the VTuber community from the very beginning, I thought it was only right to talk about it because this story is absolutely bonkers. So let's start off by painting a picture. There are two people in question in this big VTuber controversy. One side, we have Mafu, who from what I understand is a massive Nico Nico Doga utaite that has been in the scene for a very, very long time, has amassed a massive Japanese audience, especially of the female variety, because, I mean, look at him. Even behind the mask, he looks probably hot as shit. And he made a pretty big name for himself recently by being one of the selected artists to be featured on Kohaku, which is this annual end-of-year Japanese TV program where they bring on some of the most talked about music artists and actors and comedians and famous people to basically celebrate the end of the year. Basically, in Japanese law, if you've made it onto Kohaku, you've made it as an artist. On the other side of the story is Uruharushia, a former Hololive VTuber, which you've probably seen the face or seen clips of. She was one of the biggest Hololive VTubers and at one point one of just the biggest VTubers in Japan and probably on the entire internet for the types of, personalities and clips and stuff like that. Just being heavily associated with Hololive is pretty much you're set to be on the path to success, and she definitely proved that. And again, much like Mafu, but kind of on the opposite end of things, the personas that she would give off in her streams was very enticing to a lot of males in Japan, as she definitely, again, played into the whole, I guess, male fantasy of wanting to be with this cute anime girl and so on and so forth. Which, again, is completely fine. Or at least that is what I would say until this massive controversy burst out into the seams. So what exactly is this controversy? Well, we have a tweet right here from a pretty well-known Japanese Twitter user who actually takes a lot of like big controversies online and kind of compiles it into one easy to understand tweet. So I'm going to be referencing this tweet for all of the information, which, by the way, a lot of it has been confirmed, at least on Mafu's end. So basically, Mafu, the male in this particular controversy, came out about the fact that no, he wasn't actually single as all of his, hardcore female simps would like to believe. No, in fact, he was in an intimate relationship with Mikeneko, which I'm going to just refer to as Rusia from henceforth in this video because it's, more people know her as Rusia than Mikeneko. Which, look, at the end of the day, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think as much as you are a streamer, as much as you'd like to sell on this whole like male or female fantasy of, being the hot guy or the hot girl or the cute guy and the cute girl who's, the opposite sex wants to stumble and clamor over to be like, maybe I have a chance with them. Maybe if I give them enough super chats, they'll notice me, senpai. Hey, at the end of the day, they were just playing the game. No matter how immoral you might think it is, that's just kind of the entertainment industry that is revolved around streaming. Of course, that's not the only way that, you can go about having like a successful online career. Like, take it from me, for example. I made me and my girlfriend's relationship pretty public pretty early on in our relationship because I didn't want to end up like one of those people. Again, I'm totally fine with if people want to like, hide their personal life or not reveal their personal life to the public, but considering the fact that my significant other is also a content creator, it kind of just makes sense to just go public with it. And I guess that's what Mafu wanted to do as well, but Lucia was pretty adamant against it, knowing that it would cause a serious dent in her financial plans to milk as much money out of her very gullible and impressionable male fan base, who again was dying for the chance to potentially fulfill all of their fantasies by getting together with Lucia, whether that be in a physical or an emotional sense. Basically, it's parasocialism to an extreme level, which is, I would say, very prominent, especially in the VTuber and especially in the Japanese content creator world. It's kind of scary how that works. But the whole controversy basically started with Mafu, the guy, coming out about the fact that not only was he in an intimate relationship with Lucia, but he was actually married to Lucia before this whole, I guess, intimate relationship news came out. In fact, again, not only were they married, but they had also divorced. So according to this tweet right here that has, compiled all this information, it says here that around 2022, when the whole, I guess, intimate relationship scandal came out, they were already married at that point. And because of the way that the relationship went south very, very quickly, they had also filed for a divorce as well. And this third bullet point here saying that according to Mafu, who was the one who revealed all of this and spilt the tea all across the internet, he actually wanted to go public with his relationship with Lucia, saying like, quote, it says, "No matter how many of our fans disappear because of this truth, I still think it's important to tell the public and to tell our fan base who trusts us and loves us no matter what, that we are not only in an intimate relationship, but are also married." But Mikaneko, Lucia, had other ideas. So around this summer of 2021, they started hanging out, and by the end of that year, basically 6 months later, they had become married. They had become husband and wife. However, it only took another 7 months from there for them to decide to have a divorce. So over the course of about 13 months, they went from meeting and being in a relationship to being husband and wife, to them being divorced. They are just speed running romantic dramas, and it's kind of crazy how fast and how short that whole timeline is. According to Mafu, during the time that they were married, Lucia would, in a single day, send hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages to Mafu in hopes that he would respond immediately, and if he didn't respond to any of those 100 messages immediately, she would immediately assume that he was out cheating on her, which I don't think I have to say is probably the worst trait to have in any kind of relationship. It's all about like having trust. Like you married this person, which means that, technically speaking, you decided that you were going to be with this person for the rest of your life. Like the deal has already been sealed. Like, so you'd think that there would be at least some level of trust. Although I say this, but they were only in, kind of a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship for about 6 months before they got married. So maybe they didn't give themselves enough time, in which case I would question, why did you get married so quickly? But now we know. It's because that one of them was just fucking crazy, apparently. Not only would she quintuply text Mafu to make sure that he wasn't out cheating on her with another girl, but she would force him to consistently be logged into his Discord to basically monitor him 24/7, which does not seem like a marriage that, you want to be a part of. And honestly, even just listening to this part, and trust me, there's so much more shit on this table as well. Even just listening to this, the whole, texting 100 times and having to reply immediately afterwards and, basically spying on your partner over Discord. I'm surprised this man lasted 7 months before he decided to cut the cord. I wouldn't even last 7 hours if my partner was doing that shit. That is like so incredibly toxic. How you can't realize that is beyond me. She would consistently complain and gaslight Mafu Mafu on really, really nitpicky things to the point where, he would be consistently like, apologizing to her about things, crying about it as well, having a really stressful 7 months of just consistently, crying and being monitored and everything. Lucia would be consistently tweeting over on Twitter and all of her social media about a lot of untrue things. And even though Mafu Mafu consulted a lawyer about it, because, again, as I've mentioned in previous videos, defamation laws in Japan are very, very serious shit. And there are some actual real life consequences that can be subject to the courtroom. She just wouldn't listen. Like, not even a lawyer could convince this girl to shut her mouth about things that were just untrue and very defamatory. So, about 5 months after they married, around May of 2022, they decided that they were going to file for a divorce. And during that time, Lucia would consistently try to just suck Mafu Mafu's wallet dry by asking for money and all that kind of stuff. But then, big twist of the day, it was found out that although Lucia was the one consistently monitoring Mafu Mafu to make sure that he wasn't out cheating on another girl, it was actually Lucia that had been cheating with another man. Bro, you can't make this shit up. This is insane. She's crazy. And so because Lucia was cheating on another man, ultimately the divorce settlement ended up being that none of them would take each other's money, and it just ended with that. Boom. Divorce done. Now, you might think this is where the end of the story is, but it wasn't until after the divorce was finally settled that things somehow just kept getting worse. So originally, Mafu Mafu, after getting married to Lucia, decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy a house, a house that we can both stay in, we can both live in, because we're husband and wife now. I feel it's only natural that we live together in this house. So he himself, without any financial help from Lucia, decided to buy a house that the two of them can live in. And what was Lucia's response to that? Actually, I want to live here by myself. Can you not live with me, husband? What a red flag. Like, you are husband and wife, and you're not letting your husband live with you in the house that your husband bought for you. So because I guess Mafu Mafu didn't want to upset his newly wed wife, he let her live in the house that he had bought for her, only to come by every now and then to check up on her, to find the house in a pretty horrible state. He says here in his statement that, he would enter the house and there would just be trash all over the floor, like so much so that you couldn't even see the floor. And not only that, but they supposedly had an urn that was filled with the ashes of the pet that they used to own before they moved into this house. And that urn was basically sitting in the pile of trash that was all over the floor. Anyone who disrespects animals like that just doesn't deserve to have the love of an animal or any kind of living thing henceforth. Like, you disrespect animals, you are going straight to hell. Luckily, Mafu Mafu found that and brought it back to where he was staying, and it's all good now. So at least Mafu Mafu has some heart, but he was unsurprisingly very shocked at this whole thing. He was mortified of the state of, again, this house that he had bought for her and he wasn't allowed to live in. And going on to, Lucia cheating on Mafu Mafu with another guy, apparently the day that they basically got married, which was Christmas Day, December 25th, and the next day, they had plans to, hang out and celebrate and all that kind of stuff, because naturally, you just got married to someone who supposedly you are going to spend the rest of your life with, and it's Christmas, which is a very romantic season in Japan. So Mafu Mafu was like, hey, you know what? Today, our marriage day, and tomorrow, we're going to hang out. And what was Lucia's response to that? She denied hanging out with his newlywed husband on the day they got married, and instead went out and hung out with the other man that she was cheating with. And not only that, but according to this statement, Dushya actually asked the second guy, the not Mafu, the guy that she was cheating with, that he should come and live with her in this new house. Like, could you be any more of a piece of shit human being? Not only are you cheating on your husband, which is already like a piece of shit thing that you can do, but you slide out of your wedding day celebrations to go and cheat with another man and then ask that new man if they can live in the house that their current husband has bought for them and is not allowed to live in. Apparently from that piece of news, the second guy actually didn't know that Dushu had already married Mafu, and found out about it after the matter of the fact. And so technically speaking, he is also a victim in this whole thing. Like, the entire time, these two guys have been dancing on the palms of Dushya, who just is doing a speed run for worst human being alive. And the defamation just doesn't stop there, because apparently during the whole divorce settlement conversation, Mafu would go online to find out from an anonymous person on an anonymous forum that was saying some pretty horrible things about Mafu, saying that Mafu was, being domestically violent, saying that he was cheating with multiple women, and not to mention that apparently he had killed Dushya's cat by slamming a door on the cat. Again, all of these were just allegations, all of these were unfounded, and later it turned out that they actually figured out who was giving these anonymous tips and all these defamation allegations towards Mafu. It was Dushya herself. That's right, not only did this woman cheat on her newlywed husband with another man on their wedding day, didn't let her husband live with them in the house that he had bought for her, but then went online onto an anonymous forum, which, by the way, apparently you had to pay for in order to post onto, to defame your husband during a divorce settlement. Like, if this sounds like it's not true, if this sounds like I'm making this shit up, I don't blame you. When they say that, like, reality is stranger than fiction, this is a great example of it, because you couldn't write this shit, even with the most clever romantic drama author mind. You can't write this shit. This whole scandal basically currently ends there. They are currently, although their divorce settlement has ended, because of these very defamatory posts that were done on this anonymous site that were later found out to be Dushya herself, she's now currently being investigated by the police about, like, obviously defamation, because as I said, defamation is very serious crime in Japan. And Mafu, is lamenting on this blog post where he spills the entire teapot onto the collective lap of everyone on Twitter about how these past 2 years he has been really, really depressed and even, contemplated gaming over, which, honestly, after hearing all of this, I don't even want to wish my biggest enemy to something like this. Like, this is probably the worst way that you can treat another human being, let alone your fucking husband, someone you decided that you are going to spend the rest of your life with, and then you pull this shit off. God damn. So again, this is a developing story, and just for legal purposes, I am going to say that these are all taken from Mafu's side of the story. As of right now, as of me recording this video, Dushya has not said anything on the matter, maybe because a lawyer is stopping her, or probably they're going to go to court or something, I don't know. But as of right now, Dushya has been silent on the matter, and we really won't know the full picture of this whole insane drama until we hear both sides of the story. What's especially scary is just how both of these fan bases, both Dushya and Mafu's fan base, have reacted to this news, because this particular tweet right here has 50 million impressions, not even 4 days. 50 million impressions in not even 4 days, 58,000 retweets. Like, this thing fucking blew up in Japan. We're gonna have to wait maybe to hear Dushya's side of the story, but as of right now, these allegations are pretty intense, and if they are true, then goddamn, man, that is a scary woman, to say the least. I guess at the end of the day, the whole message behind this story is that you really should not get too attached to your favorite content creators, because especially with VTubers and people who decide to like hide their personal lives, you don't know what they're like personally until you've actually met them personally. And I'm not just talking about like, you know, meeting them on the streets or whatever to like get a picture or a signature or whatever. I mean like actually hang out with that person. I've always said to my fan base that, you know, I like the slight distance that we have, because as much as, you know, I appreciate the fuck out of you guys for, you know, watching my content and liking it and supporting it, I also do like the fact that, you know, you aren't like head over heels for me. You aren't like, your entire life doesn't revolve around my existence and what I do, because that puts the pressure off of me. And God forbid, if I, you know, fuck up in any way, you know, there'll be less people who will go absolutely insane like these two fan bases have. And I really don't think it is healthy to revolve your entire existence over people you have no idea who they are. I am going to end this whole story, though, on a kind of a positive note, or I guess a funny note, because for a lot of people who don't care about VTubers and who are not in the immediate fan base of Mafu Mafu or Lucia or anything like that, this is just some like bullshit, petty, you know, YouTuber, VTuber drama. And if you want to take it that way, then by all means, it is up to you. But for a lot of people, especially in the immediate fan base, this was no laughing matter. In fact, there was a very famous, I guess, live stream or something, maybe, you know, some kind of Discord call that happened in the Uruharushia fan base Discord, where after they found out about this story, clearly they were breaking down, like they were getting absolutely destroyed and distraught, and somebody created this meme. They took the broken down screams and the dejected screams of hardcore Dusha fans, knowing that, you know, they had basically been backstabbed by this woman who thought was like perfect or whatever, or they had a chance with, which I've never understood the concept of. Like, I'm just going to be real with you guys. If you're a diehard like VTuber fan or, you know, YouTuber fan or anything like that, and think to yourself that, oh, you know, maybe I have a chance with them, you don't. I'm just going to be real with you. You probably don't. And that's fine. There are plenty of fish in the sea, man. You can enjoy their content while also going to live out your own life. So please go and do so. But somebody took this recording of Dusha fans breaking down and decided to make a Midwest emo song out of it, because the screams were just way too perfect. And so I'm just going to play a little bit of this for you guys. It's so perfect. Whoever, bro, this is why I love the music community, man. Like, it's almost too perfect. I love this so much. If you want to listen to the full thing, I'm going to leave a like on this because it's just way too much. If you want to listen to the full thing, I've left the link to this in the description, because whoever made this, you're a fucking genius. So thank you for at least, you know, giving us something funny out of this terrible situation. But yeah, at the end of the day, guys, we have to wait to basically see, you know, what's going to happen with this story. It is a developing story, and again, we've only just seen one side of the story, so it is going to be interesting to see what Lucia has to say about this, if she's going to say anything at all. Either way, please, you know, keep a healthy distance. Try not to be so parasocial to the point like these guys were in the previous clip I just showed you, because it really does just not end well for anybody. And all I'm gonna say is, if you know, Lucia never responds and we find out that she actually did all of those things that Mafu Mafu is claiming that she did, then holy fuck, what a terrible human being. But that was my 2 cents on everything. Hopefully I managed to condense this story nicely, but let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. And hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smack my face right here, subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making big channel number go bigger. Over here next to my head is a couple more videos you can check out if you enjoyed this one. Links to my social media, as well as my Patreon to support me directly. And Nonsense, we got some pretty sick clothes. Go check it out at nonsense.jp, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.